So that's what my mom meant about you're special. Hmm. Let's do this.
Because in either game, life or football, the margin for error is so small. I mean, one half a step too late or too early, and you don't quite make it. 1/2 second too slow, too fast, you don't quite catch it. The inches we need are everywhere around us. Hell yeah. They're in every break of the game, every minute, every second.
Leg out.
What up, everybody? Eventually, we'll get to me after we go through all the bumper music. Although, I wonder if anybody ever listens to the bumper music and then either thinks that it's a radio station and then, they move on because they're listening for a podcaster, or they listen and they think, wow, it's pretty good music, and then I come on and then they just said, oh, what the hell's this crap, and then hang up. So who knows, maybe one day I'll have so much analytical data I could get the answers to all these questions. It is Halloween right now as I am live, so by the time you hear this, I'm sure it will be probably Christmas, or if it's Halloween, maybe you'll listen to it, but it'll be Halloween 2019 by the time sometimes I go live. It's just hard because of all the prep you have to do it live. So maybe about 25% of my podcasts are live. Eventually they will be, while I pick up steam. But since I don't have a ton of listeners, though, then again, I might have more than I think, because sometimes I promote this after the fact, and you promote anything and you're going to get a few listeners. I guess somebody in New York just railed over a bunch of people on it just happened today, and I was out and about, didn't listen to the news, and yes, I think 8 people died. They say 9. That's 8. Because usually it's including the driver, but I don't think the driver died. So 8 or 9 people died. And sometimes when it's all over, another person dies. It's in critical condition or whatever. So, that you say our prayers go out to these people, but you really do, because these kids, they're out of parent now, and it's a horrible thing that now these kids got to grow up and the family has to get, it's one thing to die from cancer, but it's another thing to die from somebody just basically, they're not happy with their life. And so I think a lot of people, they're just, instead of committing suicide, they're like, oh, I could be a martyr too at the same time. And, because if these people were super religious, I don't know. You find out these people are going to strip clubs the night before, and their heart's not really in it. So I think it's just they want to belong something, as much as anything else. Belonging to something is a very powerful tool. So it's scary. Now, we're not supposed to worry, though. Some people tell me, oh yeah, statistically, a terrorist will not kill you. Well, yeah, there are a lot of things that won't kill me, but I still worry about it. One of them is, for instance, I went to the Halloween haunt, Knott's Berry Farm. They have a Halloween haunt, Knott's Scary Farm. And I didn't know my wife signed me up for it. When we got our season passes, she tacked that on there. Great. So yeah, I go to the Halloween haunt, and we're standing on the corner. And the problem is, we're standing on the corner, and there's like probably, I didn't do a head count, but probably like 25, 30 people on a corner. I mean, it's a crowd, and maybe not 20-ish. Crowd of people standing there, and I'm sitting there with my daughter and her friend, and I go, "Hey guys, we're standing on the corner. Let's just move over a few feet." And so we stood behind the pole, and it's just, if you're gonna go through life, you might as well be a little smarter. And maybe I even told you the story already, but I told them, I go, "Look at all the black marks on the curb." I go, "They're accidents, and those black marks aren't from out of work painters. It's cars lose control and get T-boned in the intersection, and this is a reminder to me." But really, it wasn't about an accident. The accident wasn't the reason I was worried. It was more or less, there are copycat. People, they see a crowd, they have a car, because you can't buy a gun in California anymore. So now you just drive cars in the crowds, and it's a scary thing, because you have these guys are always thinking of something new, but they will always have a crowd somewhere, and you'll always have a car, and you can't do much to stop it, because by the time you notice what's happening, things are done. And like when you think of the guy with a gun, if I was at my sister's, I was at my sister's school today. She's going to continuations because she's 44. I was at my daughter's school today, and I was sitting in front with her. For whatever reason, she wanted to hang out with me. I don't know why. I don't want to hang out with her. So we're sitting there, and sweet. She's like, "I love you, Daddy." She's holding my arm, and she's 7 or 8. I'm a little out of touch sometimes with things, but she's in the 2nd grade, so it's kind of cute, that she wants to do this. But I'm sure she'll want to do it in high school too. Grab my arm and sit in front of the school until the very last minute. So I'm sitting there, and there's all these kids there, and there's not really any adults. Some adults come and go, and I understand it's a tall order to wait for your kid to have to let them go into class. And before the school opens, they have a fence. So they're behind a closed fence for a little bit, and then they open it, and then they got like a buffer zone, and you can't help but think of some loser walking up with a gun, and it's a target. And it's like, eventually we try to, that's a little late. Eventually we try to weed out these targets, but the problem is, at the beginning, we have a target, it's exposed, we hear about it, and then we get rid of it. So since nobody really went to a kind of a crowd yet in front of a school, nothing's happened yet, and so it's we don't do anything about it. And I was thinking, I feel like, okay, I'm here, at least I'm a male of age, if it's a guy with a knife, I'd beat the crap out of him. But if he had a gun, well, honey, it's you or me, how's that gonna work out? It's tough. There's nothing you could do, and I wish that, if California wasn't so liberal, I would carry a gun, and as much as possible, and because you got to do something, and since the other guys are going to use a gun, well, I'm going to use a gun, and any more than if I go jogging, I'm going to go jogging in a place that has those little concrete barriers, if there's a crowd. And just like when I was with my daughter, I got behind the barrier, because that's what people are doing now. They're running in the crowds. And so as the terrorists change their strategies, you got to change your defense tactics. And that's just the way it is. It's unfortunate, but what are you going to do? So there you go with the school. We're at that point. So I do like to spend time with my kids as much as I can, And so what I decided is I used to go dirt bike riding, and I don't do that anymore. It's so much work, and I'm so busy. I got the different things going on. And oh, by the way, I got to tell you about this advertisement I just did. Anyway, so we went camping, and my nephew pulled up, and I don't ride bikes, like I say. I bring the kids' regular bikes, and my nephew pulls up on his Harley, and I was just telling him that when I used to ride Harley, it was before texting was popular. I had a Buell, not a Harley. It was a wannabe Harley. So, and I did it to save money on gas. So I didn't get the very good bike. I got a small motor, and it did its job and whatever. But you still get cut off every day. It's like every time you drive somewhere, you were going to get cut off. And I told myself, am I going to argue with everybody because I would, somebody would pull out in front of me or make a U-turn in front of me, and if I didn't go around them or stop, I would have gone, butt over tea kettle, and there's nothing. The car probably would have just kept on going. That's how small my bike was. Actually, if I would have jumped, my motorcycle probably could have went under the bike and then landed on the other side of the car. Anyway, so. I just told myself, look, if I'm going to get to where I'm going, I got to stop arguing, catching these people at the next red light and be like, what were you thinking? What are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Who's your dad? Why is he an idiot? Why do you raise somebody like you? And so I just said, look, I'm not going to argue with these people. I just want to get to where I'm going. And I think I was better off because it's like sometimes when you vent, it feels good for a little bit when you argue with these people, but then later on, you kind of feel like a jerk. So it's just, I told them, hey, the problem now is people are so distracted, and let's think about it. You're wearing all black, and people are, they're cutting you off on a daily basis, and you're getting pissed off now because they cut you off, and we all seen the videos, and that motorcycles rarely fare well. So he we all say goodbye, and at the end of the weekend he rides home, and yeah, sure enough, he calls, and thank God he didn't get in an accident, but he had a blowout in his front tire. So it's like on top of everything else, then you got that to contend with. So luckily, we were able to get him a ride home. God, I've just been tired. I gotta stop doing my podcast so late. I get tired. So he got a ride home, and that was cool. But the problem was that I let him use my insurance card, my AAA, and because they're okay with it, and I know he's stranded. But then it's like, then I started feeling guilty, like I'm kind of stretching the truth here. I mean, yeah, technically, it's like if I was there, he could have, they give me a ride. They'll give me a ride in the tow truck because I was on the back of the bike, and I'll take the bike too. But I wasn't exactly there, and so anyway, so the tow truck driver comes, and so he had to tell the tow truck driver that I was his dad, and he was on the back of the bike. I was on the back of the bike, and it was kind of funny because I didn't, when I told him, hey, just say I was on the back of the bike and I had to leave, and I didn't think about, now he's explaining the situation of, hey, I'm on the back of the bike. Well, basically, anytime a dude has another dude on the back of the bike, it's not a good thing. So he had to ride the whole way home, trying to, now he has to hide his story, and then I feel guilty, and nobody's perfect in life, and I guess the point I'm trying to make is, I do these things at the time, like, I could bail them out, but I think having hindsight, I should have just paid $250 or whatever just to have them towed, and it's kind of